And now we will hear Lars Rosell, the CEO and founder of Vilokan. Vilokan that has the technology to recirculate solvents, meaning that even if you mix solvents, you can bring them back and being able to resold again as new solvents. Today, I would say this industry is dominated by linear structure, where you produce it from virgin resources. And he will demonstrate how the collaboration between Ragn-Sells and Vilokan now can reduce the CO2 impact with almost 90% by reusing solvents.
First of all, I would like to present Vilokan as a company, and because we have a better speaker, I will, despite the PR part, show this movie. I think it's too much sales pitch, but...
Where others see waste, we see value. Every industry sector that generates streams of liquid waste must manage both cost and environmental challenges. The Vilokan Group transformed these streams into sources of revenue and improved operations control. With over 30 years of experience in environmental technology, we tailor solutions using a range of well-proven techniques to purify water and recycle precious raw materials. As a result, our customers get clean water ready to reuse in production. Creating a closed loop and, to achieve greater results, a completely sewerless facility. In addition, the process recycles valuable commodities such as ethanol and glycol, all resulting in several tangible benefits. Ever-increasing prices of new raw materials and limited global resources makes this a strategic financial resource. Vilokan helps customers reuse recycled materials or reprocess them into new products ready for market. Having sales and distribution within the group closes the loop for a truly circular economy. We are the Vilokan Group. We turn waste into value.
Okay, Vilokan as a company, we are selling in 27 countries, and we have a turnover about 1 billion and 135 employees. So that's about us. And then we had this idea together with Ragn-Sells to create something new, and we found a very good location, but it Högbytorp, center of Ragn-Sells, I think, or very interesting site. So we created for 4 years, I think, ago, started to form this joint venture. And the plant itself is able to right now produce about 12,000 tons, but we have a permit for 20,000 tons. No, 20, yeah, that's correct. So why do we do that? The old model is produced from finite resources, as you have heard before, and this way it takes a lot of CO2 to buy virgin product and then send it for incineration. And the model take, make, dispose is, as we have heard before, maybe not the future. So that's why we instead are closing the loop with this new approach together with Ragn-Sells, where we turn waste classified solvents into new raw material. And the model is transform a linear wasteful process into a circular one, so we can recover the solvents instead. And the partnership itself is about 3 companies. It's Ragn-Sells, Vilokan Recycling Tech, and Arôme Décor Chemie. And what the different companies do is that Arôme Décor is a chemical company, are able to bring the solvents to the market, and recycling tech provides the separation technology. And when a problem for a company like this is to get the volumes into the plant, and that's a very important part, to be able to separate already at the source and bring it to the plant. And that's Ragn-Sells Recycling's very important role, how to provide the right material to the plant. And it's a very good impact on the environment, because up to 87% less CO2 output from when you're recycling compared to virgin products. So already when we start, we all active people are CO2 positive, we say, because we are bringing something good to the market. And yeah, so this study is made by KTH, I think, together with Eric at SRS. So it's not just a business opportunity, it's the significant environmental impact, and it's also possible to quantify. So the joint venture is a model for the future, and it shows how industry can transition from a linear resource depleting model, circular value creating economy. So what we are thinking about is this is a blueprint, and to scale up, because we are working in several countries. We can also see the industry itself are they have the waste, but they don't have the culture to recycle. So some projects we have with very big companies, they want us to be at site, so we can take the waste, fluid waste, and recycle it on site. So we have like 4 different projects in UK and US where this will happen on site. And this is also the culture between the waste management companies and the industry itself, and to change that way of how they do things. And we can see that very big waste management companies are entering the recycling part, where they want to bring technology to the market. And this is something that is, I think, will be a fact with Ragn-Sells, that they because they own the waste and are able to recycle it. And I don't know if you will be on the tour, but this is the plant that is built, and it what you see, the towers, is 2 distilling columns, and the tanks, maybe you can show, no, up here is for collecting, also storage for virgin product. And we are now in test production, and we think we will start next week with we are missing some percentage in clean water. So what's this about? It's a distillation, fractional distilling process, where we use heat or boiling point. So we are heating up the solvent to its boiling point, and in that way we are able to separate different solvents from each other. And when we have a lot of water inside, we are able to bring out the water with evaporation to decrease the energy consumption from the distilling part. And before we did this project, we took an inventory of the market in the region, and when we can see that there is about 25,000 tons nearby the plant, so we have a good market opportunity. And we have a permit that took several years to get, but we are able to take care of most of the different solvents. And now we are producing acetone and ethanol, and we are in discussions with several quite big customers. So it seems that if everything will come to us, we will have full production in 2026. I have just one slide, just to more, because that I want to show. This is an example from Syracuse Airport in US. We can see these great towers. It's about water footprint, and it's also about recycling of glycol. So it's happening in many places. And just another, this is Arlanda. We have a national agreement with all the airports in Sweden, where we bring in the water and or recycling the glycol. And this is quite interesting because we are producing 5 million tons with glycol, and the CO2 footprint is going down with 17,500. So it's significant. And this is the figures that happen when you work with solvents. Wastewater treatment, closed loop, and that's it.
But it has not been easy when I stay here. As I understand, when you started with this idea of, we're going to reuse solvents. So tell us the story. How long time did it take to have acceptance for that this is possible?
From Ragn-Sells?
No. From the market, before you even talked to Ragn-Sells.
So I started in 1987 with the idea to recover solvent. And of course, that the first difficulties we had was the big chemical companies, of course, because they wouldn't sell more solvents. So what that ended up with is that they understood that this will be the future, because the workshop or the industry had a return of investment less than 1 year. So instead they changed, so they started to sell our equipment instead. So that's really what's everything about. Also with the water treatment, it's a funny story. I have still 8 minutes, so I can.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions.
No, imagine an industry working with chemical treatment. That's a linear process. Yes, and that was kind of tradition, or still are in several areas. We introduced the closed loop to recycle the water, and everyone i verkstadsforskning syntes av all the guys that knew everything about this said that we are wrong. Now it's a standard to reuse the water, and this is happening in many places. And Peter, I must tell you that the price for water in UK, Spain, are so high that we can get a fast return of investment for these very big plants to recover water. So there is possibilities.
I think that what you touched upon, a very important part, is that many of the current wastewater treatment plant that doesn't take municipality water but industrial water, they have now seen the potential to reuse the water, because then they have their own interest. The big challenge I see is still the large part of the wastewater treatment plant, or to be honest, we only have 16% of the wastewater treated today in the world. So we have a huge gap when it comes to the potential. And today's the obligation when it comes to public sector or the public authorities or public wastewater treatment plants is to do bad things less bad, not to reuse. But here we need to have this mindset change. What I see from your presentation is also that, and that's part of our strategy or insight, is that in the history we took the solvents as a waste and we could make money from them. Now companies say, I can reuse my own solvent. So that is exactly what you're explaining. What we're doing now is that we check the solvent factor that we'll see later, and then we have a solution for the mid-size and the small companies that can't set up their own process. And this is what will happen going forward more and more. And of course, the chemical companies, they face the problem, and they understand and really see a big crisis also in the chemical industry, because the consumption are going down because more and more reuse are now being happening when it's possible.
Yeah, but the interesting fact about that is that one of the largest producer of ethylene glycol and you can say heat transfer fluids came to us, to SRS, and presented that they want to start recycling. So they even told, we said that if you mix different glycols, it's difficult for us to recycle, but we can put a mark on the bottle, you know, when they are selling, or the containers, whatever, to recycle it. Because then you ask why. The answer is that the customer are asking for it. You have the CO2 problems, and the pricing for recovered material are going up. So the plant at Arlanda, we you know, solvents is a market that is regulated by index, okay? But we get like 10%, I would say, higher price for recovered material. So the interests are increasing. So the market is changing about in solvents. So that's good for SRS.
Fantastic, and that's connected directly to what we talk about scope 3. And suddenly now companies need to reduce their scope 3 emissions, and that's in the material. If they can prove that in this case that it's recycled, it is almost 90% lower CO2 footprint. And of course that creates the value. So I'm really happy now that we have this collaboration. I really love to see the factory up and running and producing a lot of recycled chemicals going forward.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and we'll
Thank
come
you.
back to you in the panel discussion.
Thank you.